Sawadee Krap, and welcome to another episode here for the Thailand Tuesday. It's Tuesday, and you know what it means. We talk about what's happening here in Thailand, or just sharing experiences and so on. Last week was more about what's happening. This week is me answering one of the most asked questions that I'm getting in my website as well as here on the podcast. So let's talk about it. I'm trying not to rant or anything though, even though current developments would or could get me to rant about this topic, but I'll try not to make it personal and just talk about general experiences and things that I observed. I'm smiling because, well, one of the most asked questions is always like, how is dating in Thailand? And then I'm like, what do you expect me to say? Like, how is dating in Germany? How is dating in the US? How is dating in so I don't think that dating per se is that much different. I mean, you've got all the dating apps here, for example, Tinder, Bumble, Coffee Meets Bagel. You have some local ones like Thai Friendly, which is terrible. No offense. Facebook dating too. So that's like anywhere else. So then you might ask, okay, but like, how are the girls or how are the guys? So I cannot talk about the guys. But how are the girls? And then this question also always gets to me a little bit. Like I don't know what to answer. Like, yeah, the culture is different. Like if you would meet someone who's grown up in a strict Thai culture setting and who hasn't been exposed to Western media or Westerners per se or Western work and so on, then you will find cultural differences, obviously. If you date outside of Bangkok, this might be even more, I don't know, the case than maybe in Bangkok, because in Bangkok there are lots of international schools, lots of like better paying jobs. So maybe those people that live in Bangkok, they're more exposed to the Western world rather than people who live outside of Bangkok. Okay, now, but then let's go down, let's jump into the stereotypes. Like, are Thai girls easy? No, it's just like anywhere else. There are people, and this could be girls, it could be guys, it could be anyone, that are more easy, and then there are those that aren't. But I don't think that's a culture or it's a race thing. You've got people with different styles and lifestyles everywhere, right? So I don't think that's like a typical Thai thing. One thing that, however, you do need to understand is like, yes, so the culture, as I mentioned earlier, still plays a part also in dating life. And there are, of course, those who are completely exposed to or completely westernized, and it's like very easy to get along. Then there are some that have still some like traditional Thai culture when they were growing up, and it's not a bad thing, right? But you have to be aware of it. Like, for example, respecting the elders, for example. So if you then meet their family, you're supposed to, if you don't forget, take off your shoes, bow, like maybe like sometimes a little bit, and so on. But nothing crazy. The thing what now, again, I didn't want to make it too personal, so I'm not talking about like current developments, but what happened to me over the past year is one example. I was dating a girl for a while, actually for like 2 years or so, and she was living with her grandma, and her grandma hated foreigners because she had like just those stereotypes about foreigners, that we come here, we take their jobs, we take the girls, and like those bad stereotypes. And so she was hating foreigners. Also, I've got like tattoos, as you might have seen already. She also hated guys with tattoos, which was a great combination, of course. So you can run into stereotypes, of course you can. But again, this could happen anywhere, right? Like before there was me, my grandparents also hated people with tattoos. I hope they don't hate me right now, but they also hated people with tattoos, for example. Like, tattoos are dirty. So those stereotypes are everywhere, right? So I don't think it's a Thailand specific thing. Maybe I can. I just share a few things that happened to me over the years, and then I always added I don't think it's a Thai thing. So I had I think the girl that I dated, the first girl I dated after moving to Thailand, we were dating for a while, and then I got my first tattoo here on like here on the shoulder. And yeah, when she saw it, she was like, what? Why? How? What? Now I cannot date you anymore. I'm like, what? She's like, tattoos are like for bad guys, for bad people. I'm like, all right, if that's the reason for you to break up or to not date anymore, then I guess okay. But again, this could have happened anywhere with anyone, right? Maybe it's just a more conservative upbringing based on cultural beliefs, maybe. But I think this could have happened anywhere. Another girl I was dating was very aware. Maybe that's more of a Thai thing, but again, this could be more also like a traditional conservative thing. Like couldn't hug her in public, for example. She's like, we can't do this in public. That's not okay. So this could be something that many people say would be something typical Thai, because you don't show like the affection. That's just not part of the culture, like in public. Again, you can meet those people anywhere though. But so maybe that's something that you could be aware of. But again, it depends on the person, right? You can generalize. Okay, so anything else that happened to me that was interesting to share in a podcast? I don't think so. The language barrier, of course, can be a hindrance at times, of course. But then you have to decide, like either you're willing to learn more Thai, which, I mean, since you live in Thailand probably, or spend a long time here, then maybe you would want to learn the language. Or you just try to communicate, meet people that you can talk in English or whatever language with. Yeah, so that is not very exciting what I'm sharing right now. And yeah, I'm hesitating because I don't want the podcast to get canceled. But of course, I also have those bad experiences where then girls just say, hey, let's go out, and then they expect you obviously to pay for everything, and then they say, hey, how about I come back home with you tonight, and then you just give me some money or things like this. Never happened to me. I just heard about this. Just saying. But again, I do think that you can have those experiences anywhere in the world. That's not necessarily typical Thai. So that's why I'm like, I don't think it's a typical Thai thing. It's a typical people thing. I mean, Kanye West sang about gold diggers. So I mean, it's apparently also a thing in the US. It's not a Thai thing that there are girls, guys as well. Again, no experience with guys, but you hear that they're after money. Of course, it's more of business for them. But again, and I say this 1,000 times because I don't want to get canceled. This could be a thing anywhere in the world. Oh God, this is more of a difficult topic than I thought, to be honest. We're gonna make this one very short this week. Hey, maybe I'm just gonna invite like one or two friends, like Thai friends, male and female, just to talk about like dating and so on. Maybe that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, maybe we can do this. I think that might be a much better idea than just me trying to share things, but then also not getting too personal. And trying not to get canceled while stereotyping, because again, those stereotypes don't necessarily need to be true, obviously. Okay, I think that's a good idea. I'm gonna stop this right here, right now. I'm gonna invite a few friends. We're gonna have like a dating podcast kind of thing, and then we're gonna just discuss how it is to date people from different backgrounds, different different languages and whatnot. Maybe that's a better idea. All right, great idea. I should have thought about this before, but at least we have something to discuss and maybe a little bit of to smile about. As always, thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry I couldn't deliver more stereotypes, but I just, again, think there's nothing super stereotypical. But we will have those examples and cases with my friends. If you want to know anything in particular, shout out. Maybe that's even easier. Ask more specific questions, not just how's dating in Thailand. Ask them more specific questions. And by the way, those guys who are like, it's so easy to get laid in Thailand. Yeah, assholes, F them. Right? That's just like pushing the stereotype, which is totally not true, because those kind of girls that they didn't talk about, you find them anywhere. Those kind of guys, doesn't need to be girls. I know, could be guys too. So you find them anywhere, right? So that's all BS. All right. As always, thanks for being here. Like, share, subscribe, rate this thing so we can have a bigger discussion about how's dating in different cultures. Until then, as always, take care, stay safe. Chokti, Sawadee Kap.